Hi, everyone. Well, I just want to let you know that I have now adopted as my culinary heritage the region of Emilia Romagna in Italy. Recently, I've had quite a bit of interest in Italian food, and um, it's getting better every day, a little bit. Recently, I was asked to make an antipasto, an appetizer, for an event, and I was asked to bring bruschetta. Perfect. I'm studying Italian food right now, so that worked out quite nicely into my Wikipedia Google search. I know it's not academic research, it's just special interest and a little bit of fun. So I dove in onto my iPad and checked out Google search to find out about the origin and the beginning of bruschetta. Now, bruschetta, the word bruschetta means toast. Back in the 1500s, when the olive growers finished their harvest, they would take all their olives down to the guy that had the press that pressed and made the olive oil out of the harvest of olives. So they would have a loaf of bread to taste and to, check out how good the crop of olive oil was for that year. So they would bring a loaf of bread, slice it up, toast it, sprinkle it with that new olive oil, maybe sprinkle a little bit of salt on it, and sort of celebrate the end of the season to hopefully have, the best crop of olive oil ever. So that's where bruschetta started. You can say it either way. Either way is correct. Bruschetta or bruschetta. Both are perfectly fine to use. So over the years, from the 1500s, bruschetta has taken on an additional sort of personality. We add vegetables and even fruits and lots of things that can be added onto an appetizer, an antipasta, uh, before a meal. Tomatoes is one of the major components of a bruschetta these days. So I find that real interesting because tomatoes aren't even uh, originally from Italy. Cortez, in all of his traveling all over the world, brought tomatoes from South America back to Spain. And they weren't even used as food at the beginning because once you chop up a tomato and put it on a pewter plate, the acid and the metal react together and did not make for very good food at all. But they were beautiful, used as a decoration on the table. That's how tomatoes started in Europe. Now, the very best tomatoes that we know about or use in our Italian cooking, San Marzano tomatoes, are grown, the best ones, so they say, are grown on the, shadowy side of Mount Vesuvius in the south of Italy, which is a volcano. So depending on the altitude and all the climate and everything, the soil, volcanic soil, apparently makes the best San Marzano tomatoes. Now, San Marzano tomatoes are a type of Roma tomatoes. And we're not worried about those San Marzano in bruschetta. We're talking about the north of Italy in Emilia Romagna region. Well, I get mixed up between regions and provinces, but it's the region of Emilia Romagna that has all of this wonderful food to make up the bruschetta. So, first of all, tomatoes. Chop them all up, get rid of all the seeds, let it drain out, get a lot of that moisture out of there. Drizzle it with some olive oil, hopefully from the district. Drizzle it with maybe a little bit of balsamic vinegar. We all know about balsamic vinegar. Well, guess what? Balsamic vinegar had its origin in Emilia Romagna, in the province of Moda. I'm going to Modena is the province where balsamic vinegar started and where we get the best balsamic vinegar. So they say. So that's pretty fantastic. Now we also have cheese on any bruschetta. There's cheese, Parmigiano Reggiano. Now, the district, the province of Parma is also in Emilia Romagna. So this region is pretty loaded with good and good food. So now we have Parmesan cheese. Now we can even add on to bruschetta Parma ham. Now we've got Parma ham, we've got porchetta, pancetta, prosciutto. All of these are pork products, and the best of the Parma ham, comes from the Parma province in the region of Emilia Romagna. Lots of good food, lots of good things. So now we've got to put all of these foods onto a bread, onto the bruschetta, which is a larger loaf of bread, sliced, toasted on this special toasting apparatus that they had over coals, hot coals, drizzled with olive oil, a little bit of salt, cut it up. That's bruschetta. Now we also have a type of bruschetta, we call it bruschetta, and in Wikipedia, it's actually called crostini. We use a baguette type of bread, a baguette, long, round loaf, a smaller loaf, and you slice that baguette up, and you have little slices of bread. It's their own little slice, and you toast that, olive oil, garlic, pile on the toppings. That's crostini, which we also call bruschetta. Some people, that's how they make their bruschetta, known as crostini. Pretty interesting. So now we've got tomatoes that were originating from South America that came over to Spain and traveled all over Europe that way. Now we also have grapes that made wine that made its way from Spain over to Argentina. So even back in the 1500s, we had this transfer of food, transfer of products, transfer of people, make it a global world even back then. So I hope you had a little bit of fun listening about bruschetta, antipasto, meaning before the meal, appetizer, bruschetta, meaning toast, and all the toppings from tomatoes, ham, cheese, chopped up vegetables marinated. They use eggplant, other vegetables, tomatoes and onions in that, have its own little vegetarian mix of chopped up vegetables, all piled on top of a lovely toasted slice of bread. Could even be possibly its own meal, never mind appetizer. Now another interesting thing that came out of that area, or that region, out of the province of Ferrara, the Ferrari car. Mario Andretti, my idol. My husband used to call me Bev Andretti in my driving style down Main Street to get downtown. I did a lot of lane changes, and he called me Bev Andretti. So my love of that area goes way back. A little bit of fun. Hope we all go out and buy a loaf of bread, whether you buy a baguette, buy a sourdough, slice it, chop up your tomatoes, get some cheese and pile it on. Have a wonderful little snack, appetizer, maybe make it a whole meal. Please enjoy bruschetta. Have a good day. Bye for now.